Something you ought to know is T.J. Clark's article on a social history of art. T.J. Clark is a contemporary art historian who tends to be Marx influenced. He claims that art operates outside of politics nowadays and believes that there is an importance in creating a social history of art rather than looking at it as a straight line, how it's normally conceived. He says that art has no power whatsoever now, but wants to recapture a time when it did. He's quoted as saying, "In the mid-19th century, the state, public, and critics agreed that art had a political sense and intention, and painting was encouraged, repressed, hated, and feared on that assumption." He has 5 main points when addressing the relationship between politics and art taboos. The first is that artworks cannot be seen as reflections of ideology. The second is history cannot be seen as a background against which art happens. The third is that the notion that the most important point of reference for an artist is his artistic community is rejected. The fourth is intuitive analogies between a picture's formal or compositional properties and expressions of social content are out of bounds. A chaotic composition does not mean distaste for social hierarchy. An artist that fits into his framework is Gustave Courbet, a mid-19th century realist painter. Courbet is remembered for his social realism paintings of peasants and workers, which were motivated by his strong political views. A perfect example is his Stonebreakers. This painting suggests that work is what defines laborers, and not their faces or identities. This is a political commentary on how workers were viewed by the bourgeois class. Courbet was a highly skilled painter, but he was not interested in the polish that audiences at the time expected from painting. He wasn't interested in the idealized or romanticized side of art, and is quoted as saying, "The basis of realism is the denial of the ideal. Burial at Ornans was really the burial of Romanticism. By reaching the conclusion that the ideal and all that it entails should be denied, I am completely bringing about the emancipation of the individual and finally achieve democracy. Realism is essentially democratic art." Clark believes that an attitude like this in the 19th century could really have some pull. He rejects the idea that society automatically has an effect on an artist's work. The artist's encounter with history is a decision made by the artist himself. Not all artwork is influenced by the social conditions of the time. It is the choice of the artist. This rejects the idea that history is a total force that serves as an explanation for all art of the time. It gives the artist the power to choose what to depict. He also suggests that artists like Courbet may play a role in the creation of social and political attitudes themselves. But some questions arise. Is it possible to understand or recognize all of the influences on our work? Where would the political reality that we live in today fit in? Ultimately, Clark believes that art no longer has power and therefore does not provoke social change, or does not have the ability to provoke social change.